Okay, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Tirado, and again, thank you for continuing to rock with the channel. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the new subs and the comments. With that being said, I got a string of videos for you because what's been happening with the police departments across the country is a direct result of DEI. When we hire people that are unqualified, you're going to get things like this, what I'm about to show you. All right, so let's dive right in and let's take a look at what's been going on.
Avenue in Queens arrested for doing the opposite. The two probationary cops went to check out a complaint about prostitution in Jackson Heights last summer. But when they got there,
look how young these dudes are. 20, maybe early 20s. This is crazy.
Prosecutors say they turned off the body cameras because they didn't want anyone to see what they did next. Eyewitness News reporter Safan Kim in court today. He's in.
Look at the way brothers looking at us, man. Look at that look, man. Dude, no, he's guilty. And they got him cuffed.
Jackson Heights. Safan?
Well, Shadi, at one point it was so bad out here, the NYPD launched a crackdown called Operation Restore Roosevelt. It was highly publicized, and now that police work out here is getting attention once again.
First of all, there's been prostitution on Roosevelt Avenue for decades. Even when I was a cop, back in the 90s, it's always been there.
But for all the wrong reasons.
These are the two NYPD officers accused of stealing from a sex worker and groping her, 25-year-old Justin McMillan and 24-year-old Justin Colon.
Counselor, any comment at this point?
No comment at this time.
Probationary officers declined to comment after facing a judge, arrested and arraigned today and charged with burglary, forcible touching, petty larceny, and official misconduct. Prosecutors say last July they responded to a prostitution complaint at a residential building on 89th Street just off of Roosevelt Avenue. When they arrived on scene, they allegedly gave the all clear, then shut off their body-worn cameras, then stole a key to the building from a sex worker, only to return 8 hours later still in uniform. Prosecutors say they entered the premises using that key and found the woman engaging in prostitution. Investigators say Officer McMillan then stole an unknown amount of cash from the worker, then fondled her. She then called 911.
Right now we're inside of one of these illegal massage parlors on Elmhurst Avenue.
The NYPD had been flooding the neighborhood and shutting down brothels like this one down the street, an operation that lasted for months and ended with the arrest of dozens of Johns. Police officials had been touting a drop in crime as a result of their efforts.
Inside of this location right here, we look outside. This location is listed in the Department of Buildings as, I think, a tax office. Nobody's getting their taxes done here when they come here.
Yes, they are. They're getting their booty taxed.
The complaint. They had been under investigation by Internal Affairs since that day.
Now, Officer Colon was charged because he was present, again, in uniform, wearing his gun and badge. They had been on modified duty since that day. They were suspended without pay. Today, they're facing up to 15 years in prison. They're due back in court on April 28th.
Let me say this. Do they really want to stop it? Like I said, back in the 90s, it was prostitution there. It was a problem. We would have details, what they call details. And you'll have like, a few sergeants and a bunch of cops, and they'll go into that specific avenue and they'll just start like asking for store owners for identification, just checking to see if all of their stuff is up to date. And if not, you would give them summonses and so on and so forth. You do checkpoints, sting operations where you would have undercovers posing as, prostitutes to see if they can pick up Johns, so on and so forth. But it doesn't work. Obviously, it hasn't worked. So the question is this: do they really want to stop it? And the answer is no. Someone's getting paid. I'd like to know who. Someone is getting paid. A politician, probably. All right. Why can't they get this under control? It's one avenue in Queens, like one long avenue. Why can't they get this under control? I know the answer. I just don't want to get all conspiratorial on you guys and then you guys think I'm nuts. You guys probably already think I'm nuts, but what I'm saying is that they can stop this sort of behavior easily. 1, 2, 3. Let's move on to the next one.
Now to a story that we've been following closely. A Prince George's County rookie officer facing criminal charges. That officer appeared before a judge today. Sierra Alston faces 3 counts of unauthorized use of a vehicle. 7 News Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell was in the courtroom. So, Brad, what played out during today's arraignment?
Yeah, so look, it was a very brief appearance in court. She essentially said, yes, she's hired an attorney, and they set some future court dates. But what we learned from some documents today is that even though this officer is charged with unauthorized use of just 3 vehicles, the investigation which led to her was touched off when the rental car company realized that they had 30 cars stolen from their lot at Reagan National Airport. And I'm going to tell you, after this hearing today, the officer was in no mood to answer our questions. Ms. Alston, is there anything that you would like to say?
Yes, get those cameras on my face. You like to cash you.
Did you steal these cars?
Did you?
Prince George's County Police Officer Sierra Alston leaving the Arlington County District Court today after a brief appearance for her arraignment. As we first reported Monday, the rookie cop celebrated by the department last spring in a social media post during Women's History Month was arrested last week after being charged by Washington Metropolitan Airport Authority police with unauthorized use of 3 BMWs stolen from the 6th rental car company at Reagan National Airport. Now, we know from court documents that her charges stem from an investigation into 30 cars stolen from the company's lot. Alston was tied to 3 of them when her police jacket and documents were found in one, her phone connected to Bluetooth in a second, and she was seen with the 3rd BMW in D.C. police body cam footage. It's also alleged when confronted by an investigator last spring, she claimed she had taken an Uber and lost her jacket. When told that car was in front of her house, it's alleged she claimed she didn't live there. Alston has been on light duty since last April. Sources say it is because of her pregnancy. She is now suspended without pay.
Get those cameras on my face. Thank you.
Watch out!
Is there anything you want to say about this at all? Yeah, so yesterday we posed a number of questions to the Prince George's County Police Department. We got answers today. Primarily, yes, she had a background check before she was hired last year. She is in her probationary period, but under Maryland state law, she can't just be fired. There is a process. And even though she was connected last year to this, she wasn't suspended because she was already on alternate duty. And
That's part of the problem, honestly. Like, when you're on probation, you can be fired for anything. I know that's how it is in New York City. Like, they don't have to have a reason to fire you. They just fire you. It's that simple. I don't see why, honestly. What I'd like to know is, I'd like to know what her jacket looks like. Not the jacket in the vehicle. I'm talking about when they performed her background investigation. Like, what did that look like? How many arrests does she have? Because you can be arrested and have misdemeanor convictions and still become a police officer in a lot of states. Now, I remember back in the day, they gave me a problem for having a freaking summons, a moving violation. They gave me a problem. All right, so the standards have definitely dropped. I'm not saying that all DEI hires are bad. No, there's a lot of good guys and girls that entered the police department and are doing good things. You know what I mean? It's a great career. Lots of room for growth if you study and follow the right supervisory track. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean anything because all it takes is one, honestly. It just takes one individual where you could have an entire police department that is suffering because of some sort of incident that occurred 30 years ago. And it took them 20 years to take 2 steps forward into achieving that trust from the community. And then something like this happens, and now you find yourself 10 steps back again. And all it takes is one person to screw it up. And that's part of the problem. Let's move into the next one.
Investigators arrested a Colorado Springs police officer today for stalking and misconduct. That's according to CSPD. Detectives say they began investigating Officer Neil Jackson last week after they heard about allegations of criminal activity. Investigators were granted an arrest warrant for Jackson and arrested him today. He's facing a felony stalking charge, first-degree misconduct, and a cybercrime misdemeanor charge. Officials say Jackson has been with CSPD since 2020, and he was most recently assigned as a patrol officer in the Falcon Division. Jackson is currently on administrative leave, depending on the outcome of this investigation.
What a mess. Let's move on to the last one. And these are all incidents that have occurred within the last 24 hours. 24 hours.
Montgomery police have relieved one of its own of his duties after a felony charge. 22-year-old Nicholas Zachary is charged with electronic solicitation of a child. He was off duty, according to police. The investigation started 2 weeks ago, and Smith was put on leave. He was arrested today. He joined NYPD last year, assigned to the Training and Career Development Bureau.
That is crazy, man. I think police departments all across the country, honestly, can pretty much solve this problem if they invest the money that they have and they get from the federal government, if they invest it into their police officers. I can be here for hours talking about how unqualified most of the police officers that they're hiring today and yesterday and in the past. I can tell you that most of them don't deserve to be police officers. They're empty suits. They don't do anything. They scam. They cry when they have to do work. And it's been like this for decades. It's been like this probably for 50, 60 years, maybe even since the beginning. Who knows? But the problem is when you experience, like, when you work with people and you know what they're doing, like, you understand, like, wow, this guy's a zero. And I'm not saying you got to go around and you got to be like a superhero police officer. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this, is that you know that there are so many people scamming within the police department, and you got to ask yourself, why is it that these people don't get caught? How come? Do they want them to be caught? And the answer is no. They don't really want them. They have to hire these DEIs because no one is taking the job, because the salaries are too low. They're paying their police officers crap money. I'm talking about shitty money. It's insane. Yet, police departments, especially big city police departments, they have a fund that they keep for lawsuits, right? And that fund can be hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of dollars. It's easier for these big city police departments to just settle. And that's part of the problem. They settle on these lawsuits. So they have like this bank allotted just for that. Instead, why not train your police officers how to be assassins, right? And what I mean by assassins, I mean, these police officers should know how to defend themselves without having to go for their firearms for every incident, right? That should be your last resort. Like, the only time you should be pulling out your firearm is to protect your life or someone else's life. That's an immediate danger, right? That's the only time. Other than that, you should be able to use your hands. And if you're not skilled enough to use your hands, then you shouldn't be on a job. If you can't protect yourself in a fight against one person, and at least be able to subdue this one person until the cavalry arrives, until your backup arrives, without having to use deadly physical force, you shouldn't be a police officer. Do you know how many people I know, and I'm telling you right now, anybody that's police officers that's watching this, they know this to be true. When it comes to qualifying for your firearms exam in big city police departments, do you know how many people fail and can't shoot from the 7-yard line without any sort of movement? It's not like they're asking you to do a tumble, a roll, hide behind a pole. Let me get 2 shots. They're not doing anything like that in big city police departments. They got you lined up. You're in your own space. They bring the paper up to 7-yard lines. You know how many people can't hit it? You can throw your firearm at the freaking paper target and you can hit it. That's how close it is. And then the second would be the 15-yard line. And then the last would be the 25-yard line. There's people that never hit that since they graduated out of the academy, because you don't have to hit it from the 25-yard line. As long as you score, I don't know, 70, whatever, or I forget what it was, but as long as you score 78 or better, you got it. So you can miss all the 25-yard lines, and you can miss, let's just say, a third of the 15-yard lines. And as long as you get somewhere near the body on the 7-yard line, you were good. You know how many people would fail on purpose? So that way they don't have to go on patrol and they can be sat down behind a desk just answering the phones. It is terrible. I can go on and on and on about all the BS that's hidden within the police departments, all the money being spent, the scamming, the overtime. I mean, just in recent times, we've seen this lieutenant working out of one police plaza making over what? Over $200 and some odd $1,000 a year? Doing what? Pushing paper? And that's why Chief Madry got in trouble, right? He had to step down. I mean, look, I can go on and on and on. You have to invest in your police. You should only be hiring the best of the best. And if you're going to if you're going to hire women, you have to be able to defend yourself on the mat in the academy. I don't know if they still have boxing in the academy, if they even allow it. I know back when I was in the academy, they allowed it. A few people got their nose broken, so they couldn't graduate or whatever, and they had to go into the next class. So I think they sued, and it was a mess. And they stopped boxing for a little bit, but they should have grappling. They should have jujitsu in the academy. As a woman, if you're 5 feet or 5'2" and you're only 100 pounds, you should be able to subdue a 200-pound man with no problem and put him in handcuffs. The problem is you have men that are 200 pounds, 6'2", and can't even do that. That's the problem. Not to mention you graduate out of the academy and then you balloon up and you gain 50 pounds and you become a whale. How is this allowed? It's ridiculous. Look, I'm going to leave it here. That's my take on these big city police departments. I believe that they should all be highly trained. I believe that all the money that is being wasted, all the wasted federal tax dollars that is being wasted on programs within the police departments should be defunded or diverted into better training for these police officers. Enough with having to qualify with your firearm, stationary. You should be doing real life combat situations. You guys should have the best guns. You guys should have the best of everything if they're going to tell you to go out there at the age of 21 and go protect life and preserve property and all this nonsense. You can't do it when you don't have the right tools. You can't do it when you don't know how to defend yourself. You can't do it if you're antisocial, like you're an introvert. Like, it's just impossible. You can't do it. And this is why we're going to continue to have problems going forward. We're going to continue to have riots and race wars because of incidents that may occur that should not occur between police officers and the public. And you're going to continue to have that for all these reasons. And you got to ask yourself, why? Why will they never, ever stop doing this? And it's because the globalists won't let it happen. They profit off of this. They keep us divided off of this type of stuff here. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to get crazy. Again, I'm not going to get too conspiratorial because then you'll be like, this guy's nuts. That's all I'm going to say. With that, I'll see you on the next one.